Hello, and welcome back to another episode of VIPs in Action Village Innovating Perinatal Support in Action. Guys, today I am joined by Miss Kiana Ayers. She is an amazing individual. She's an RN, she's an IBCLC or certified lactation consultant. She is a licensed childbirth educator, and she just has had a passion for helping birthing families over the years. She believes that everybody deserves access to care. And I think that that theme has rung through with everyone that we have interviewed so far on this podcast series, on this video series. She is a proud owner of Mamas and Tatas. I love it. And the director of Ready, Set, Push, a nonprofit offering free and reduced perinatal education, prenatal education for families. She's also a wife and a mom of four. I don't know how you do it because I'm stuck at two, and I think that that's plenty. So, guys, without further ado, I would love to welcome today's guest, Kiana Ayers. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on.
You're absolutely welcome. So tell us a little bit about you. I know that that intro does not even begin to do you justice or do the work that you've been doing within the community justice. So tell us a little bit about you, where you're located, and a little bit about your businesses and your passions.
So I'm located in Jonesboro, Georgia, which is nice because I'm south of Atlanta. A lot of people think to get these services, they have to travel into the city, but I'm here. I'm south of Atlanta. So, you can get good quality education and lactation help south of the city. And what I'm doing with Mamas and Tatas, I named it that because I really feel like when a mom has great prenatal education, then breastfeeding can go so much easier. So that includes her childbirth class, her breastfeeding class, nutrition classes, making sure that she moves during pregnancy, and then subsequently having that postpartum support. If it means the form of a consult because she's having a problem, then that's okay. But mostly we just want to be supportive. To that end, so what my offerings include, I have a Lamaze childbirth class series that I encourage families to do in their first trimester. So you take one class in your first trimester, your second and your second, your last and your last,
Mhm.
because you learn all throughout the pregnancy the things that you need to do to have a healthy pregnancy. I also have partnered with a nutritionist so that I can offer more nutrition classes because a lot of us don't get enough education about nutrition, which oftentimes leads to gestational diabetes and hypertension, small for gestational age. So by giving them nutrition counseling all throughout, we can help to kind of alleviate or even stop some of those things that come up.
Mhm.
And then once baby is born, of course, I have the full offering of the consults, but also we have a weekly support group that we do that we are just loving because it's so supported by moms who come back week after week and share their breastfeeding experiences and their challenges and just get to be hanging out with other moms that are breastfeeding.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And it's nothing like that credibility that's given when the people that you've already worked with, the people that you've already trained come back in and say, "Hey, here's what happened. Here's my experience." And it's like the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Yes,
They just come back in, they get to support and mentor other moms along their
yes,
journey. Because I think
yes,
oftentimes moms are like, "I'm the only one this is happening
yes,
to."
yes, yes, yes. And that peer support is huge. So, like when we're on the call, we'll say things like, a mom will say something, and the next thing I'll say is anybody else having this issue?
Hmm.
Letting them talk to each other. They have more street cred than I do. My baby is
Right.
10 years old, right? So when they're sitting there talking to other moms who've just been through it, it's really, really helpful. So we have that wide array of services that we do. And like you said in the intro, what I saw was that yes, we have offerings, right? We have classes, but a lot of times they're not quality.
Hmm.
They are, little snippets of things that women can use, but especially when dealing with low income families, we can just check a box and say we offered them something. And I wanted to be different than that. I wanted to have offerings that were really quality so that even if you don't have the means to pay for something, I want you to feel like what you got was the same as what another family who could pay for it received.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. That is amazing. How has COVID-19 affected you? I mean, so you're doing all these amazing things, you're meeting all these amazing people, you're making such an impact in your community, and then COVID-19. So how has that affected you, your practice, how you engage with your audience now?
Right. So when before COVID, lots of in-person stuff, right? Just getting moving on setting up things and being in the community and having all these meetups in person, it was great. And then of course we had to stop. So we had to quickly pivot to virtual offerings, which yes, it's a little more difficult. Like I had to add cahoots and put games and things like that to keep people's attention a little bit more. But what I find is we have a wider reach.
Hmm.
So now families all over the state, all over the country have joined us. I've been fortunate to teach breastfeeding classes in Ghana because
Hmm.
of Zoom, right? So Zoom has really to me been a blessing. I recently did a virtual consult with a mom in Chicago who had come to my breastfeeding class and was like, I couldn't find the help I wanted, so I came back to you. And I knew you would get me where I needed to go. But that couldn't have happened, pre Zoom when we were doing this. Where everybody's using Zoom now.
Hmm.
So the virtual offerings, yes, it's been a little more painful. I do get quite a few calls of people who are like, when are you going to do something in person? But having the Zoom offerings really has helped me to be able to have a farther reach. I just did a class in Savannah and I have families who tune in from South Carolina. So it's nice because women can just be online and they can have access even in areas that are resource poor. They
Hmm.
can still get quality resources in their own home. And I think some families like it. They get on with their pajamas or they don't turn their camera on or it's just a lot more comfortable being in their homes.
Mhm. I would imagine, especially for moms with new babies, right? Like,
Right.
to get the baby ready, get out of the house, get to this
Yes.
meetup or whatever the case may be. It's great to get out and meet people. But sometimes, life happens. Our days are just like crazy, and moms are like, oh gosh, I just can't. So to even know that they have the ability to be in pajamas, be breastfeeding at the time that they're doing this class or whatever have you, I think is such an amazing resource. So I think it's one of the amazing things about what has come out of COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the fact that everyone thought that being online was going to be detrimental. And what
Mm-hmm.
we've recognized and realized is, like you said, you're teaching in Ghana. you know do those people even have a Kiana over there? They don't have a Kiana, right? And so now you're able to reach people in areas who before would have just had to kind of, trial by fire. Let's see what
Right.
happens and hope for the best. And now they can get that expert guidance that they need,
Right.
for the journey. And that's a beautiful thing. Oh my goodness, I
Yep.
love it. That's awesome. What difficulties or what struggles have you noted though, in terms of being able to reach people during this time?
What I've seen, especially for the families that I really want to reach, is that the resources that they did have are shuttered away.
Hmm.
So without having abilities to go into buildings, a lot of the health departments, you're not able to go in the building. It just, a lot of the resources kind of withered up. So being able to be a resource for families at a time when things were closing down was
Hmm.
really important to me. But I'm only one person, and I'm not known to the masses. So having this podcast and showcasing so many of us that are still out here is helpful because, like I said, a lot of things that were normal to have during your pregnancy and then after just aren't there.
Hmm.
So I partnered with some of the local WIC offices. I always send them my classes. I've gotten a lot of families that way so that they know I'm still here, able to
Hmm.
offer services. But it's been really hard, especially on families that don't have additional resources and who were relying on those types of resources. They're just not there.
Hmm.
So that's been hard.
What about you? So you're a lactation consultant. What about things like breast pumps or,
Mhm.
like the more of the physical things, that people may need? They're like, oh, well, I need maybe nipple shields, or I don't know how to do this in particular, or
Mhm.
whatever have you. What are you finding with regards to
Mm.
people, especially in more rural areas with access. So maybe the ones that already have to drive a substantial distance just to get to someplace. Are
Mhm.
you finding that you're at least able to still reach those individuals, or has it been a struggle for them?
So, like I said, because I'm here, but like, not a bunch of people know about me, and I'm a team of one so far. Um, what Getting access to like stuff like breast pumps and stuff is not that difficult for most families with low resources because some of the Medicaid companies will cover the cost of your breast pump. But there's a but. You get this pump, you don't know how to use it. You may
Mm-hmm.
not have the right items inside. You may need additional things, and there's no one to call to talk about that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, you may get it, but you're still missing a piece of the puzzle. And for some of the Medicaid companies, they don't offer it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Being a part of the VIP cohort, I've been able to provide things like that through them, which is part of their grant offering, able to help some of the families I serve to get access to those things that just weren't available. Um, so that's been a good thing, and that's been huge to be a part of this, to be able to say, you can't get it there, but I can help you get it through this, which has been
Mm-hmm.
great.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's a beautiful segue, because I was going to mention, being one of the recipients of the grant, what ways were you finding that this has been beneficial to you and your community? And like you mentioned, you've been able to get them access to resources that they otherwise might not have been able to get. And I think that that's key. I think that especially in a time like now, because a lot of people, they were saying, "Oh, this is only going to be a month." Right. And
Yeah.
and and and
That's
when
what
you
we
wrap your
thought.
mind around, okay, I just gotta wait till next month, I'll be okay. And then next
Yeah.
month turned into 2 months. And now it's
Yeah.
been 12 months. And if you're, in the Northeast, it's been over a year, well
Yeah.
over a year. And so, places are locked down again.
Yeah.
Restrictions are in place again.
Yep.
And it's been a hard time. And then to go for this long for some people without resources, without access, has been very, very tumultuous, I would imagine. And even traumatic to some extent, because you can't get the things, basic things, when we think about it, that you
Mm.
need. What things have you found have been struggles within the community at large, in terms of, your education, your breastfeeding, what you're doing? What have you found as you start working with people? Have they mentioned that are struggles for them?
So in pre-COVID, you'd have your baby, you'd go to your pediatrician's office, you'd get your baby weighed. Post-COVID, a lot of pediatricians' offices are doing virtual consults.
Hmm.
So now you've got this baby, they're not sending you a scale, right? So it's up to you to have a scale if you can get one, right? So now you're having this thing where you're like, you just have all these questions about, is my baby okay? Because you're not getting that in person touch. Having that access of having this weekly support group with other moms who can kind of help you to see, is this normal? Is this not? That's been a nice gap that's been filled
Hmm.
because you're not able to get that when you're doing like the virtual consults with your pediatrician's office.
Hmm.
And like I said, no people aren't mailing out all the resources you need during your
Right.
pregnancy. Virtual visits. How are you going to get your blood pressure checked? How are you going to so there are different things that just became missing. So a lot of women who were already marginalized and falling through the cracks fell even more because of that in-person touch. So being able to help moms to advocate for themselves and to say, hey, here's some of the signs and symptoms that you might need an in-person exam, or that you might have to advocate and say, no, I need my blood pressure checked, or no, I need my baby to have a weight check. Those are things that have been great to do and be able to educate families about.
Hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. What other projects do you foresee you getting into, beyond this grant, beyond this cohort, with Rose? What other things I mean, there's so much that needs to be done out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people that need to be reached. So what other projects do you feel are necessary as we talk about advancing maternal health, as we talk about improving maternal health outcomes, as we talk about decreasing maternal mortality, and the thing that people don't talk about as much, decreasing maternal morbidity, because even if mamas don't die, which is like, oh, they didn't die,
Right,
life is okay, but there's so many things that
right,
continue to manifest that go
right,
unchecked, and
right,
that's just as bad, right? So
right.
what other projects do you foresee, you getting involved in the future to start addressing more of these things within the community?
What I would like to see, in especially in our state of Georgia, is for the state to look to this private sector of providers who are giving all of this great care, all of these home birth midwives who have all these great outcomes, people who really could come in and help them to help their families. So, we have 4 CMOs in Georgia, care management organizations, who manage 60% of our Medicaid, of our births. 60% of women in Georgia have births through Medicaid. So they have the largest roles out there. So I would like to see them partner more with people who are really doing the job.
Hmm.
Like, stop doing the same things all over and over again that don't work.
Hmm.
Partner with people who are doing the job, have your resources allocated so that your moms can access these resources through their pregnancies.
Hmm.
Look at what people are already doing, what outcomes they have, and let them really get with people who can help them, providing a source of education and support that they typically don't have the funds to do, but that could just be a part of their Medicaid package. Recently, the state passed an extension for Medicaid. So for 6 months, they'll still be on Medicaid afterward. It includes a lactation benefit, but we don't know what that will look like so far. So
Hmm.
reach out to those of us that are doing the work and let those families find us, help them get in with us. Let us support them. Help us show you what we can do on a
Hmm.
larger scale with families who really need it, instead of going around the same circle over and over again and getting the same results.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that was, part of my reason for founding Ready Set Push, was to be an outlet, to have an opportunity for low income families to access resources they wouldn't otherwise have. Um, and also just even my private business. And there are so many of us who we just do great work. So use us. That would be my biggest, the thing that I would want to see is, those of us that are out here doing great work to be used by the people that have the most access to the most women.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree. Do you think it's going to change?
I don't know, but what I do know is that women drive change, families drive change. So as they keep
Yes.
demanding certain things, once they start leaving certain institutions that don't provide it because money talks, and even your Medicaid dollar talks, right? Because if I take my Medicaid money somewhere else, it's Medicaid money you won't get.
Hmm.
So as we continue to educate our families and say, you don't have to take that, you don't have to put up with that, change your doctor, go over here, they're providing this, it may open people's eyes to say we have to give more and we have to do more.
Hmm. Oh
Yep.
man, that is amazing. And I think of all the families that constantly tell me, even, I mean, they say things like, well, I didn't know that there were people who could help you with breastfeeding. I didn't know
Wow.
that there were, I'm a pelvic floor therapist, I didn't know that you exist. And most times I wake up thinking I'm a fairy or a unicorn, I'm some mythical being, because most people don't know
Mhm.
that we exist.
Mhm.
They say, well, I didn't know that I could do this. And I think, you can't fault people. You don't know what you don't know. But
Right.
what ways do you feel like we can continue to keep these conversations going, keep engaging families, and keep spreading that awareness?
So things like this, every little bit counts, right? One
Mhm.
person sees something, one person hears something, keep posting, keep talking, keep sharing, keep reaching, and more, we will become more of the norm,
Mhm.
right? It'll become more of the norm for a person to say, oh, my childbirth educator, my lactation consultant, my pelvic floor therapist, my doula. These will be things that they just know are synonymous with their pregnancy. They
Mhm.
know this is part of my birth team. and it won't be so foreign to people to think that these are things that they might, just only, only certain people need. So I think
Hmm.
we just keep pushing and keep talking.
And there's so many people, even, we think doulas, we think for us, these are normal terms, right? For
Right,
some people, they think childbirth is I have to go to a hospital. The doctor will tell me what to do. I will listen to the doctor. No
right,
disrespect to physicians. I absolutely love them. I work with some incredible physicians.
right,
But where do you see that holistic care coming in? Because there's still a sector of people who it's the hospital, it's that they don't, and they're not getting anything.
right,
I remember when I had my daughter, it was really funny actually. I'd look back on it now and laugh. And the lactation consultant from the hospital walked into the room, and I happened to be breastfeeding my daughter, and she got maybe 10 feet inside the door. Like she came through the door, because when you first come through the door, the bathroom is right there, so I can't see her. So you've got
right,
to literally walk about 8 feet in before you can even see the room.
right,
And she goes, "Oh, well, she looks good. You look like you're doing good, mama," and turns around and walks back out. And I'm like, "You better not put that on my bill." Because I didn't, that wasn't even a minute. But that
yeah,
was lactation consultant. She didn't check the latch, right? I mean, she didn't check to see that baby was actually getting something. She didn't check to see, like, "Mom, how do you feel? Does this feel comfortable? Let's talk about positions." She didn't check any of this stuff. Thankfully, I knew, but what about the moms that don't?
right,
You
right.
know,
You're
and
absolutely correct. hmm
and
So
it's crazy.
I think partnering with OBs and midwives to provide prenatal education is one of the best ways for us to be known. Because
Absolutely.
when women are pregnant, they are in a position to make different changes in their lives. They're more open to make changes. So introducing these concepts during the pregnancy, centering pregnancy. I love centering pregnancy.
Mhm.
Um, as a way for moms to get group OB care where they learn a ton of information. So having a model like that, or even having an OB that says, "Hey, I'm just going to introduce a different discipline every month to my clients.
Mhm.
I'm going to introduce them to here's this great doula service, here's a nutrition class, here's a childbirth class." These offerings, it doesn't have to be difficult or
Mhm.
costly. It's just opening the window so that people know these offerings exist.
Mhm.
And in any OB office can have this kind of partnership with a variety of different people and leave it up to their clients to decide who they want to use or how they want to access.
Yeah.
But just the knowing that they're there,
Mhm.
knowing that they exist is
Yeah.
really, partnering with OBs and midwives to me is a great way to get these offerings out because people sadly will listen to a physician quicker than they'll listen to allied health professionals. So when a physician says, "Hey, I got this childbirth educator, or I have this doula, or I have this set of people, you should check them out." It carries more weight.
Yeah.
So really having that ongoing discussion, like we're not trying to alienate them or be enemies with them. We want to partner with them
Yeah.
because that's
Absolutely.
where the women go. And
Mhm.
so if we can partner with them and have all these access, these resources available to them in their offices where the women come, it would make a huge difference.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. I think we can definitely reach more communities that way,
Mm-hmm.
and just really, really, again, get more women aware,
Mm-hmm.
get more community engagement, get people saying, "Oh, you know what? Hey, now that I've seen this, now that I've experienced this, I can share this with other people." And like you say, women
Yes.
make change. So, if one woman says, "Hey, my doctor told me about this group," and they tell their girlfriends, and they tell their mob groups, and they tell their church groups, and
Yes.
they tell, all these different people, and we have that domino effect. Yeah, that would be a beautiful day. And I can't wait to see that becoming the norm within
Yeah.
our culture, within our society. Well, I mean, I just think you are a wealth of knowledge. And I mean, we didn't even start touching on your RN background. I mean, you're like a vault of knowledge.
Thank you.
I just
Thank
truly
you.
think that the people in Jonesboro are blessed to have someone of your caliber just providing amazing care. And just the thing with people, it's one thing to give a service, it's another thing to have a heart for people.
Yes,
have a
I
heart
agree.
and to really want to see that change and to really want to help people. And I mean, it comes out, you exude it through and through, and those people are blessed. So I mean, I hope that you continue reaching the masses. Let's not just stick to Georgia, let's get all over the
Yeah,
world. Let's reach these
yeah,
people, let's reach these physicians. Let's
yes,
see what else we can do to keep increasing awareness, keep increasing
absolutely.
keep increasing and improving outcomes, so
Yes.
that moms are healthier, happier, babies are healthier and happier. I think that's a beautiful thing. How can moms reach you if they need you?
Yep. So my website is mamasandtatas.com. You can just, if you can peruse around there, fill out a contact form, I'll reach back out to you. You can also follow me on Instagram at Mamas and Tatas. I'm not super good at posting every day, but a lot of the moms I work with are like, you have to post every day. So I try. So those are the two primary ways to reach me is through the website or through my Instagram page. And you can find me. And we can hook up and I can help you, to craft really what your pregnancy, what you want it to be.
Mhm.
And of course, if you just need some help with breastfeeding, I can do that too.
Absolutely amazing. Well, I know that I will be sending all mamas in south of Atlanta to you, and
Thank you.
all the ones that come my way, because I just think it's phenomenal. And
Thank you.
I continue to wish nothing but blessings on your business, on your journey, on your growth. So we can go out here and help even more women.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
You're absolutely welcome. Well, guys, that wraps up another episode of VIPs in Action. If you are in need of childbirth education, if you are in need of a lactation consultant, if you are in need of somebody that has the heart of a teacher and just has a heart for people, reach out to Kiana Ayers, mamasandtatas.com. Find her on Instagram. You can reach her out directly from the website, through the contact forms, but there's so many ways to reach out. Please do not hesitate to reach out to this amazing human being for all your lactation and childbirth education needs. And so, guys, that's it for this episode. We will see you again soon for our next episode of VIPs in Action.
Thank you. See you later.